Hello, I'm Amy Solomons.
Hi, I'm Junior Moraba and welcome to our presentation. Here we'll demonstrate a digital assistant for financial transactions.
We have identified the problem that there is a lack of personal finance platforms that aim to reduce financial illiteracy in South Africa by incorporating NLG for South African languages such as isiZulu.
We propose a personal finance mobile application that assists users manage their finances and informs them about their finances. This mobile application will be offered in isiZulu, the most widely spoken indigenous language in South Africa. The task of informing users will be handled by a natural language generator that converts a user's transactions into a summary.
To obtain the solution, we created an Android application that supports both isiZulu and English. The application incorporates the budgeting formula called the balanced money formula, and therefore contains three parent categories called necessities, luxuries, and savings. The design of the application was based on a framework by Wang and Emurian to induce trust via the interface. And lastly, we brainstormed the content for the NLG feature in the application. The brainstormed content was evaluated later in the project. To evaluate the app and the content selection for the NLG feature, a non-functional prototype of the app, an exemplar output representing the content selected for the NLG feature, were evaluated via online questionnaires on Lime Survey. In the questionnaires, we had 4 different sections to evaluate different aspects of the application. The results from the usability of the mobile application interface section were mainly positive, and therefore based on the results it can be concluded that the UI is somewhat usable. Most of the results for the design of the mobile application interface section were also positive, and therefore the design was somewhat appropriate for inducing trust. The results for the content of the NLG feature section were also quite good, and it can be concluded that the content selected was somewhat appropriate. Based on the results from the final section, one can conclude that the application is extremely useful in positively impacting financial literacy.
The energy aspect of this work was trying to answer the following research question. How can an energy system that correctly verbalizes numbers in all contexts while generating understandable isiZulu sentences be built? First of all, what is correct in-context verbalization of numbers? If you can take a look at the image on the left, there are 2 verbalizations, one for isiZulu and the other for English. Something that would stand out is the fact that in English, the manner in which 15 or 15th is pronounced is the same regardless of the noun being qualified. However, in isiZulu, this is not the case, as shown by the bolded prefixes of numbers. This bolded prefix is referred to as a concord, and how it is formed depends on the noun being qualified and also on the type of number that is being formed, either cardinal as shown in the first example or ordinal as in the second example. Secondly, generating understandable isiZulu sentences. The task of linguistic realization in the past has been a stumbling block to isiZulu NLG research, as conventional techniques which were used for Indo-European languages were inappropriate for the highly agglutinating isiZulu language, or those techniques were unsuitable due to the lack of resources in isiZulu. However, templates that consist of grammar rules have been found to produce understandable isiZulu sentences. These templates are referred to as grammar-infused templates, and we will use them as a method of linguistic realization. Building the energy system, we follow the pipeline architecture proposed by Rita and Dale, which divides the pipeline into 3 distinct components. The text planner, which is responsible for what to say from the user's transactional data, will create a tiny message which will be sent to the sentence planner, which determines how to say the message by selecting the appropriate template to convey that message. The linguistic realizer, which is responsible for conveying the message, will fill the templates with the appropriate values using isiZulu grammar rules and the number verbalization algorithms which were developed to finally produce a summary of the transactional data in isiZulu. After building the natural language generator, we had to evaluate its performance We read a questionnaire and invited isiZulu speakers to evaluate the understandability of the generated text and the accuracy of the number verbalizer. The results from the evaluation show that isiZulu speakers strongly agree that the NLG-generated summaries were understandable with an overall understandability score of 78%. isiZulu speakers also strongly agree that the number verbalizing algorithms are accurately verbalizing numbers in context, with an overall accuracy score of 83%. There was also no significant difference in verbalization accuracy scores between the different types of numbers and non-classes, indicating consistent application of the rules. To answer the research question, we can say that to build an energy system that generates understandable isiZulu sentences requires the use of grammar-infused templates as a method of linguistic realization. An appropriate verbalization of numbers requires development and incorporation of a specialized numbers module in the natural language generator.
Now we will demo the app and content selection for the NLG feature. When the app is opened, the user will be taken to the overview screen. On this screen, they can view the budgeted amounts and amount of money that they can spend on their parent categories. The parent categories are the savings, necessities, and luxuries categories. By clicking on this button, the user will be taken to the overall summary. On the screen, the user can view their summary in text form. For this demo, we have also added a text-to-speech feature. The text-to-speech feature technology was provided by CSIR. The user would be able to listen to their summary by clicking the play button.
Your budget started 1 January 2021 and it ends 31 January 2021. You have 7,100 Rand in your bank accounts. Your necessities budget amounts to 5,000
The user can also pause and stop the audio.
Rand. Your luxury budget amounts to 3,000 Rand.
If the user clicks on one of these cards, then they will be taken to the relevant parent category screen. They can then click on one of the subcategory cards to review the transactions in the selected subcategory. By clicking on this button, the user can view the summary for the relevant parent category. They can either read the text form of the summary or use the text-to-speech feature to listen to the summary. By clicking on this button, the user can add a new subcategory. For the demo, we will create a new subcategory for savings and name it Test 5 with a budget amount of 200. We will then add the transaction named Zach to the new subcategory. Now we can see the new subcategory and its transaction. We can also see that the subcategory is going over budget. Therefore, in the parent category summary, it will state that the new category Test 5 is going over budget. The savings circular bar will also update accordingly. The application also supports isiZulu.
On the screen is an example of a summary produced by our NLG system. The summary begins by specifying the period being reported on in the summary. The summary includes the user's bank charges, top 4 expenditures, and number of transactions they made. Then the user is reminded of how they chose to distribute their budget, followed by feedback on how the user followed the set budget. Finally, the user is informed of their current bank balance. Thank you for listening to our presentation. We hope you enjoyed our presentation and we inspired you to consider projects focused on South African indigenous languages.